Hello and welcome to KitPlus Daily. We hope you're all well and keeping safe. Now, we're fortunate enough to be able to work from home in our virtual studio, whereas we say every show, we're currently about 30 miles away from each other.
Yeah, the current situation is having knock-on effects for everyone, and some affected worse than others. We'll have some more on this topic in today's news.
We will indeed, and we'll also be chatting to someone who's been on the show before. We just couldn't get enough of them the first time around, so he's back with more in-depth knowledge on the current situations of loans and finance, and that's coming up right after the news.
Yep, and Grass Valley has announced 3 new products designed for live production: the LDX100 IP-driven camera platform, the compact K-frame XP video processing engine, and the LiveTouch 1300 replay system. Grass Valley are putting the full power of IP at their customers' fingertips right from the camera, removing the need for base stations. And with a deep knowledge of IP, the LDX100 brings together a long heritage in live production to create a future-ready camera solution that opens up new possibilities in production workflows.
As mentioned earlier by Matt, there is much discussion about trade shows and events in the industry which continue to be affected by the coronavirus. So we thought we'd catch up with someone with maybe another viewpoint, a company working within the exhibition sector, Exhibition Frating.
Absolutely. Let's introduce ourselves to Craig from Exhibition Frating. So it's easy for us to think that Exhibition Frating are just well-organised, smiley couriers that have been looking after us for all these years. But exactly that. You have been doing this for the broadcast industry for a long time now. You must have a pretty unique insight into the workings of NAB, IBC, and the potential impact of these things not happening, or maybe not happening in the case of IBC. How can you offer us any insight into that?
Yeah, I mean, it basically back in, I think it was 2002 when we had the SARS, we had the same effect over in the Far East where exhibitions were cancelled. So it was purely going down those lines with the coronavirus. We find ourselves in the same situation, but worse, to be honest.
Well, yeah, just a little bit, yeah.
Oh.
And what type of companies are you normally acting on behalf of, Craig? Are they small companies or big companies? And is the impact of these times seen on the bigger companies more than the smaller companies in your experience?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we specialise in broadcasting, engineering, machinery shows. So we deal with some big clients and small clients. And to be honest, there's such a mix of people's opinions of going forward with regards to exhibitions. Some of the big companies, very corporate, are very scared going forward to the next exhibition until a vaccine or something's been found. Where others are, keen to get out there and sell their products.
And do you think you can realistically, with the, the way the timescales are going to be working, are you realistically going to be able to get the shipments, the exhibition stands and all the equipment into the RIE for IBC, for example, in September, with the with the short notice that they're going to give? And is there a factor there in who cancels first, whether it's the show cancelling it because people are pulling out, or if it's the Dutch government? In any way, it's a tight window, isn't it? Is it not?
Fortunately for us, they're saying they're going to make a decision. They keep pushing it back, and from what I've last heard was the beginning of July is going to be the time frame where they're going to go ahead or not. For us, whether it's by air, road or sea, we still fortunately have enough time to get the products across. Obviously, leaving it any later than that, you've got the stand builders who are building the stands. They need X amount of time. But potentially the shipping side of it, we'll be able to still make happen.
So Craig, something for the exhibitors now. Have you got any plans or services that might help them?
Yeah, I mean, I would say if we look at the Far East at the moment, the exhibition industry is back on its feet. It's slowly but surely. Germany have confirmed by the end of this month that their exhibition exhibitions are going ahead. Obviously, there's key areas that they're implementing, which is the PPE, the safe distancing, keeping the crowds to a minimum. So basically, only the people that are visiting are only going for an actual reason rather than just passing by. And if that all happens, I genuinely believe that if there's no spikes between now and July, when I believe our government are looking to open up shops again, restaurants and bars, that IBC cannot not go ahead, providing there's no spikes. I mean, obviously safety is the key, but if all this is put in place, which they're doing, as I say, for Germany at the end of this month, and that will show, I believe, some good signs going forward.
Craig, brilliant. Thank you for that. And thank you very much for coming on KitPlus Daily.
You're welcome.
And now the part of the show where we thank Media Proxy for their support and pay a few bills. As you may already know, Media Proxy is the global leader for all things compliance, with over 20 years experience in the business and over 15,000 channels deployed in over 60 countries. They are the trusted partner in the industry for logging, monitoring and analysis of linear broadcast and OTT.
What you may not know is that LogPlayer is the most advanced multi-panel HTML5 user interface supported across all desktop and mobile web browsers. It has a powerful tool set for quickly turning around clips to publish directly and easily to social media platforms like Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and many others.
And if you're looking to replace your Volocon system, team up with the global leader in compliance. For more information, please check out their website on the screen now. And now it's time for Paul Robson from Medialease, our special guest today. So welcome, Paul, to KitPlus Daily. We're going to go for a quick fire round this time with some questions from us. Yeah, that's the one. Let's kick off with and get straight in there with CBILS. They're a bit different to grants. You've got quite a lot to say about it. Give us an update on CBILS.
Very much so. It's a loan product which you will have to repay. You are signing up for a loan which the company is liable to repay to the bank. This issue of this 80% guarantee coming from the government is not for the recipient of the loan. That 80% guarantee benefits the bank who issued the loan to you, not to you. So don't think you are liable for 100% of the repayment of the loan. And CBILS is not a grant, it's a loan, typically 5 years repayment profile, carries interest depending which entity you got the loan from, be it your bank or be it from Medialease or another finance provider. We spoke about it. There's been about 40% increase in the number of financial institutions that you can access CBILS through, which is good. So a lot more banks like Starling Bank and Co-op Bank and a few other smaller entities have all been approved to provide CBILS. So there's a number of ways you can access it, but it is proving to be quite difficult to access it, both in terms of the number of questions you've been asked and how you get the positive response.
That's interesting. So, and that leads us into the question of what are the eligibility factors?
Well, there's a trigger. We've experienced some interesting responses from the market when we've approached them. Bear in mind that CBILS covers asset finance, invoice discounting, and loans. And in our opinion, not particularly our experience yet, but in our opinion, most people, 80 to 90%, are looking for a loan help. They don't want to buy any more assets. They might be looking to refinance some assets through CBILS, but then most people just want cash into their bank account to help them cash flow their business for the next 3, 6, 9 months. So if we focus on the loans, the first issue we found is whichever vehicle you go through, whichever route you go through to access the loans, the first question is, have you entered forbearance? Well, typically most companies have. Most companies have asked the provider for already a payment holiday against their current asset finance agreements or whatever they've got with them because they need the payment holiday. So if you've been given that, then they are, I would say more than reluctant, they're unwilling to even consider you for a CBILS loan whilst you're in forbearance. And the second problem we've had is whoever we approach for loans has said we are only open for applications for current customers. So, for example, if we approach through Hitachi Credit, they are saying, is this customer a customer of ours? No, he's not. Go away. We're not interested. And that is across the board. So there are two accessibility issues before you even get to the tirade of questions that you have to complete in order to fulfill your application.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, Paul, what are the key features of CBILS for the recipient?
If we just ignore the below 50 grand loans and just look at loans 50 to as much as 5 million, the key features are below 250 now. This has come out in the last 4 weeks. Below £250,000 loan, you will not be asked to provide any personal guarantees to support the application. Above that, they are probably going to ask you for them. Depends how strong your business is. So the advice we're giving to people is don't apply for more than you need and don't apply for more than £250,000. You've obviously got to provide cash flow forecasts and bank statements and a whole load of COVID-19 statements. But the key features are it's a loan. The first 12 months should be no interest to pay because the government will pay that. The British Business Bank will pay that on your behalf through something called the Business Interruption Loan Scheme. But the repayments are then interest and capital for the remaining term of the loan, whether it be 2 years to 5 years that you've gone for. It's just the first 12 months interest paid by the loan provider. But the interest rate varies per route you go down. So if you go through your clearing bank, you're probably going to pay a lower amount of interest than if you went through an asset finance provider or some third-party intermediary.
So, Paul, just now you mentioned those above 50 grand. What about those who are below that 50 grand threshold?
Well, we've got this new scheme now, the bounce back scheme, which is an odd phrase, but it seems to be the tag it's been given. The bounce back loan is available through a fewer number of providers, but most of the high street banks and most of the clearing banks that you and I with are offering it, and the list will grow. But it's a £50,000 one-time loan. It's not a grant, it's a loan, but there is nothing to repay in the first 12 months. No interest or capital, which is the difference with CBILS. It's capped at £50,000 from 2,000. You decide how much you want. So I guess most people are going to go for £50,000. And it's a 6-year repayment at 2.5%. So again, it's a fixed term, I believe, of 6 years. First year being 0 repayments, and then you repay the £50,000 over 60 months, which I can tell you is £887 a month, every month for 60 months. And you can repay it at any time in full. So it's a pretty good scheme for small businesses. A lot of medium-sized businesses will say, well, I'm going to struggle with that because what you can't have is a bounce back loan and the CBILS. So if you need more than 50,000, it's not for you. You need to be looking at CBILS, which obviously goes up to at least 250 without PGs and beyond that, as I said earlier.
So just say, Paul, I'm already getting aid related to COVID-19 from other sources. Can I still apply for the bounce back loan?
You can indeed, Simon. Yeah, you can. It's the grants that you get are nothing related to CBILS. There, fortunately, for rural people and for really small businesses and rate relief for many businesses, you can take all of those and you can still apply for either your bounce back or your CBILS. You can't have, as I said earlier, you can't have both. But if I presume you're going for a CBILS loan, it will have no bearing on what other grants you've received, benefits you've received, furlough payments you've received. That doesn't come into it. It's about the sustainability of your business, and its key part is how was your business performing before the 19th of March, I think the date is, but how was your business performing before we entered into lockdown is a simple way of addressing that. And if your business was already struggling to make repayments and bouncing checks and bouncing payments through the bank account, which they will see, then that is going to severely impact your ability to get a CBILS loan, because, as I say, are there to lend the money, but they are there to make sure you repay the money. They're not relying on the government. That is a last resort should your business fail.
Yeah. So
if I can just quickly ask another. Sorry, Matt. If I can just quickly, if we've asked for a payment holiday in another form of lending, does that then, obviously you've said I can't have a CBIL, but could I apply for a bounce back if I've asked for a payment holiday on another loan?
That's a very good question. The short answer is I'm not sure. But what I do know is if you're applying for your bounce back loan through a leasing company or any financial institution who you have already taken forbearance from, then I know from a CBILS point of view they won't consider it. But the system for bounce back loans, because I've done it myself and it's very straightforward, doesn't ask any questions about what forbearance or what other forms of requests have you made. It just makes it clear that you can't take the bounce back loan whilst you're being waiting for a CBILS loan. So you have to go for one or the other. But with CBILS, your question's a valid one, Simon. Would I be best applying through a different provider to the one that's given me forbearance? The answer would probably be yes.
So that's perfectly leads into what I was going to ask, which is, should I be considering other types of financial help before CBILS, such as extending overdraft or selling assets to raise funds, etc.? Are CBILS, are we going to consider them a bit of a last resort or a no-brainer? Go for it.
You've got an interesting position here with the leasing companies. Let's say you're a rental company which traditionally has a lot of borrowings on asset finance, and let's assume that rental company has applied to all those leasing providers for forbearance requests, and now it's looking at, I just need cash flow now. I've done what I can with my forbearance. I've got whatever payment holidays or deferred payment terms I can on my leases. Now I just need cash in terms of a CBILS loan, and I'm going to approach this provider. What you've got to bear in mind is the CBILS provider is going to say, well, don't come to me. Why don't you go and talk to the leasing companies that you got all these leasing agreements with and get them to give you longer payment holidays? They've given you 3 months, get them to give you 9 months. And then the leasing providers will go, well, hang on a minute, don't come to me and ask me for 9 months. Why don't you go to your bank or a bank and ask them to provide you with a CBILS loan? So it's proving to be quite, I wouldn't say difficult, but non-straightforward to apply for a CBILS loan, because the question will come back from your bank, well, what else are you doing with your business, with your current debt, rather than just relying on us to give you a CBILS loan? And that's the bit that's taken me by surprise, that they seem to be pushing back, particularly to rental companies, and saying, what are you doing about looking at your current lease agreements and your current debt, not just asking me to give you £500,000 loan?
I think what I'm taking from this at the moment is the important thing that everyone's got to do is talk to an expert.
Yeah, even if you don't come to Medialease and say, I want Medialease to action this loan, or we might even actually push you back to your bank and say, I think you've got a better chance or a better deal with your bank, but we'll certainly give you the guidance. We'll certainly say to you, look, tell us where you're at with your forbearance, tell us where you're at with your bank position. We'll certainly have a conversation with you about it, no problem at all. And then we might actually say, look, I think you're best if we help you with this application, or whether we might even, as we've done with many customers, send them back to their bank, because their bank are being pretty good with forbearance requests. So we'll certainly talk to you.
Cool.
So just before we let you get on with your daily exercise, Paul, as I'm sure you're raring to go, is there one word of advice you can give people watching, an expert tip that you can give them?
I would say, if you're a small business, and I what definition is small, but if you're a small business, £50,000 will go a long way. Then take the £50,000 bounce back loan. It's a lot easier to apply for. I did it online one evening. Took me 15 minutes. I clicked a couple of questions, and I had the loan if I want it. It's there now if I want it. So it's very simple to get that. But do not take that money if you're not sure whether 50 grand will be enough. You can apply for it. You don't have to draw down on it. You don't have to sign the document. You can get it approved, and then you can decide later whether you want to go down the CBILS route or whether your 50 grand is enough for you. So just think about that before you commit either way.
That's great,
That's
Paul.
fantastic.
Thank you very much for coming on the KitPlus Daily once again. And I'm sure we'll probably catch up in the coming weeks or months with more updates. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah. No, thanks.
Wait till my hair's down here, and I'll see you soon, guys.
Yeah.
Take care.
Take care.
Well, we know the coronavirus has thrown everyone's plans and roadmaps into disarray, but hopefully Paul's words of wisdom there will have helped clarify the financial help on offer.
Yeah, and with so many options on the table, then do please consult an expert before signing up for anything long term. That commitment will undoubtedly be with you for some time to come.
We've got more to come soon, well, for the whole of May, in fact, with news and great guests. The link is on screen if you'd like to take part. We'll see you next time.